Yep.
Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Town of Delafield Board of Supervisors meeting for Monday, October 13th. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty. If you please call the roll.
Supervisor Mahoney Ogden is absent. Supervisor Miller.
Present.
Supervisor Wolfley.
Present.
Supervisor Berkowitz. Chairman Kranick.
Present.
Thank you.
Citizens' comments, public comments from citizens regarding items on or not on the agenda. The board may not engage in discussion with the citizens making the comments. Individual presentations are limited to 3 minutes, and citizens shall follow the rules set forth in section 2.04, paren 1, paren D of the town code. Anybody like to give any citizens' comments? Seeing no citizens' comments, I'm going to close the citizen comments period and move to item 5, the approval of the September 23rd, 2025 regular town board minutes.
Before the motion, if I can just make a comment that I need to fix the spelling on Terry Mahoney Ogden's name in the citizens' comments section of the minutes and change Joe Schmidt to Joe Orendorf.
All right. And with those corrections, I'd make a motion to approve the 9/23/25 regular town board minutes.
A second.
Motion and a second to approve the minutes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 4-0. Next item would be action on approval for vouchers, accounts payable, and payroll.
Motion to approve check register dated October 20th, 2025 for checks 68966 and 69009, totaling $554,684.71. And payroll check register October 10th, 2025, the amount of $26,044.33. The first bill higher due to some of the reevaluation bill and paving bill coming due, and then that higher payroll. There is
Looks like there was a staff retirement.
Yeah, staff retirement, so there's some sick and vacation day payout.
And I just want to clarify the check register. It's for checks 68966 through checks 69009.
True or and?
True.
Okay, you've got it as and. No worries. But
Is there a
that works.
second?
A second.
Motion and a second to approve accounts payable and payroll. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 4-0. Next item, communications for discussion and possible action. LCFR August report. It's attached in our packet. I guess the biggest thing is, as the chief had said a couple months ago, that the brownout situation was getting better, and the report is showing that the brownout situation is getting better. So that's a positive.
And further to the Lake Country Fire Rescue, if you allow me to
Sure.
add this. Chief Fennig informed us that the staff was fully full. Yeah.
One.
Awesome.
So that's amazing.
Yes. And then the sheriff's September report is included in there for your review. Nothing really stuck out to me. If anybody has any questions, we'll get them to the sheriff's department. But hearing no questions or concerns, I'm going to move to item 9, new business. Consideration and possible action on a request from Chris Lieber, agent on behalf of the Pewaukee Yacht Club and the Pewaukee Lake Sailing School owners for approval of a certified survey map on the property located at N22W28080 Edgewater Drive and N22W28204 Edgewater Drive, tax keys number DELT 0813.997 and 0772.027, as recommended unanimously by the Town Plan Commission at their October 7th, 2025 meeting.
I make a motion to, sorry, for 1 second. To approve the request from Chris Lieber, agent on behalf of the PYC, Pewaukee Yacht Club, and Pewaukee Lake Sailing School owners for the approval of a certified survey map on property located at N22W 28080 Edgewater Drive and N22W 28204 Edgewater Drive, tax key number DLT 0813.997 and 0772.027.
Second.
Joe can second.
Joe seconds, and I would assume or just want to clarify that the same conditions from the Plan Commission would apply as far as the technical comments being fulfilled by the planner and the town engineer and attorney if applicable before the final CSM is recorded.
Correct.
Okay. Motion and a second to approve the PYC and the Pewaukee Lake Sailing School CSM. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 4-0. Thank you. Next item, consideration to appoint Joseph Orendorf to the Zoning Board of Appeals to fill the existing vacancy with the appointed member to serve the term ending January 1st, 2027.
Motion to appoint Joseph Orndorff to the Zoning Board of Appeals to fulfill the vacancy ending Jan 1, 27.
A second.
Motion and a second to appoint Joseph Orendorf to the Zoning Board of Appeals. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 4-0. Next item, item 9C, consideration of an ordinance repealing and recreating section 12.06 per N4 of the municipal code concerning vicious or dangerous dogs.
Supervisor Miller, did you want to take
Yes,
this one?
so I think it's worth a discussion on the ordinance that's currently in place for the simple reason that I believe this is too strict of an ordinance, and I believe there should be an added layer between the town, with the judicial system's involvement, where we allow the judicial system to determine the outcomes on a case specifically. So I do think we need to keep in mind, obviously, prioritizing the safety of our residents. So,
May I give a little background?
yeah, go ahead, please.
We had a dog bite incident in March where it was unclear and is still ongoing, where it was not clear if the dog was provoked prior to the bite. The discussions between the sheriff's department and myself and the parties involved just wanted to make clear that our ordinance as it's written right now is just one bite and it's done. We wanted to give a little, like Supervisor Miller said, a couple of layers on there just in case it wasn't, or if the dog was provoked, that the judge would have the say on whether or not the dog would have to be removed and or put down. So we don't want the dogs to have to be just put down after one bite. And we're going to leave it up to the judge.
Sounds to me.
I have a question. Is it euthanasia or is it removal of the dog?
Depends on what
ownership
the
of the-
judge would indicate. So removal could mean euthanasia.
Right, and right now our code just means they can't have them in the town.
Right.
Yes.
Right, so there wouldn't actually be a court order of destruction of the dog if they were following how it's written currently, potentially.
Could be interpreted as removal, meaning permanent removal. So,
Yeah, I mean, like, cannot reside in the town, but,
right.
yeah, I mean, I guess, the experiences I have as far as this goes, and when I was talking to Michelle about this, in the insurance world, one dog bite and that dog is not insurable. So it's.
Even if provoked.
Yeah, I mean, if you get a dog bite history, most companies won't even, they have a list of breeds that they won't insure.
But we're
To
saying
start
that a judge may
Right.
disseminate the difference between provoked attack versus unprovoked.
That would
Right, and
be
the
to their
clarification
discretion.
that I got from the attorney was that neither ourselves or the judge would be considered part of a liability with the dog bite based on their discretionary decision-making, process.
And that was my initial concern was that, I've, as having seen it on the insurance side before, if you have a reported dog bite, and you need to disclose that to your insurer and there's not an insurer that I'm aware of that will continue to carry that dog as a policy. Now, they're not gonna tell you to put the dog down, they just say, we can't insure you.
Does breed matter?
Not, well, for some companies.
The reason I ask this is do you see, and I'll be extreme, a small dog, they don't get reported, but they bite all the time?
Right, and so that's the distinction, right, is if it's a reported, so if you have someone who goes to the hospital for a dog bite, it gets reported. So the county sheriff gets involved, it's reported, and that's where that, in
threshold is.
our world, that's where we are dealing with it most of the time. And so, my initial concern was if you're letting there be some discretion and with a dog with a history, will that, and he bites again, does it come back and say, hey, you're down, let this dog stay here,
Yeah.
and now there's a second bite, that's a problem. We talked to Eric and he said that would not be it would not be on us. So, I love dogs. Happy to have them. So my one concern about kind of being a little bit more lax on this was addressed by Eric and I believe in a satisfactory manner. So I'm not. I think it's playing with fire, regardless. But every situation is different, and so if that owner
Well,
wants to.
I think that's why we need, the suggestion is to add a layer in here, because right
Yes.
now it's very, there's no
black and white.
discussion.
It's very black and white. If it bites,
Exactly.
it's gone.
Is
It's not a
there-
black and white
But does there need,
situation.
there's not in the insurance world, there's no discussion. Does there need to be a discussion about provoked versus unprovoked? Are we more lenient with a dog that was provoked?
Well, I think that's where the judge gets that distinction, right?
Right.
So how this reads to me, right? Violators are summoned to appear before the municipal court. That means, so that person who owns the dog is going to have to plead their case to
You're right, exactly,
to
which
the
is the
judge,
case
and
here.
then the judge is going to make the decision. So, I think as long as it keeps the liability off the town, and, the person who owns the dog feels strongly enough that it was a unprovoked bite and that they can plead their case to a judge who may or may not agree. I'm okay with that. And it's going to be that person's, well, the town or the judge may say that hey, the dog doesn't have to go. Again, the second layer of that is what they need to do for their insurability, and that's not our problem.
At the end of the day, I'm trying to stay focused on the fact that we're not a court system. And yes, we have rules and we need to apply them.
Yeah, and like I said, I think Eric addressed my liability concern, so I don't have that concern any further, and so
Right.
I think it's a reasonable thing. I've unfortunately seen people who've had to part ways with their dog, and it's difficult, right? Not only is it obviously nobody wants to get rid of a family dog, but also it's hard to find a place for a dog who has bitten.
Yes, exactly.
That's, so puts people in a no-win situation, and, if they can get some leniency, not leniency, but some agreement from a judge,
Ability.
then, that's on them, so.
I motion to approve an ordinance repealing and recreating section 12.06, parent 4, of the municipal code concerning vicious or dangerous dogs.
I'll second it. I just got a question. So in reading this, does this take the humane officer completely out of the equation, or are they still part of it?
Humane officer, I guess, has been phased out by the sheriff's department, so there
Okay.
really isn't a humane officer anymore. I don't have a whole lot of information on that. I'm trying to figure out who would be taking that place, but so far there's no word on that.
Okay. And then we don't have a police department, so in section C here, I mean, would it, the Delafield Police Department just default to the sheriff's department then as far as,
I can change that. I'll just run it past the town attorney just quickly, but yes, I will change that. I'll have a fresh version then for you to sign at a later time.
Cool.
Great.
so there's a motion and a second to approve the ordinance to repeal and recreate section 12.06 paren 4. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 4-0. Next item, item 9D, consideration of a developer's agreement with Welshire Farms LLC for the Welshire Farms development.
So this is development agreement number 2. It's for the condos that are on the kind of the middle north end of the property. The overall plan was approved. This is just specifically the developer's agreement for that one section. It's been reviewed by our town attorney, our town engineer, and our town planner.
And obviously, mirrors the first section is just rolling out that we're getting rolling on the second section.
Correct.
For phase 2 or whatever they're calling it.
Yep.
Motion to approve the developer's agreement for Welshire Farm LLC for the phase 2 of the Welshire Farm development.
A second.
Motion and a second to approve the Phase 2 Welshire Farms development. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 4-0. Item E, consideration of an ordinance to create section 19.22 relating to the regulation of aeration circulating pumps on Pewaukee Lake.
I know Supervisor Mahoney Ogden is on the Lake Board, but she's not here today. I was also at that meeting. And effectively, all that's being asked of us is to adopt the state guidelines for mounting and keeping aerators for over the winter. Right now, if there's a complaint or an issue, they've got to go to the DNR, peel a DNR warden off, and my understanding is that's not a easy thing to get done. And if the 3 municipalities adopt it, the Lake Patrol would then be able to address and enforce the keeping of the aerators in a similar fashion as the state. So.
The city of Pewaukee already passed theirs. This is the same version. They have the same attorney. I did change it so that it was more reflective of the town in our specific sections. The village of Pewaukee is going to be looking at this next week.
So the big thing is just to have a town ordinance so that the Lake Patrol or the sheriff can enforce it.
Yep, and the town ordinance is to match across all 3.
Okay.
So the Lake Patrol can enforce it. And so, it's, I mean, it's nothing that's, it's not banning them by any means. It's really just making sure that people are being responsible with marking them, with mounting them, with not, like, dropping them in the water and then effectively digging out a bottom. So it's again, it matches the state requirements on keeping and using an aerator.
Is there any difference with the city of Pewaukee ordinance? The way it's
Theirs is
written?
like, they just put it in a different section of their code and list themselves as a city multiple times. So no other verbiage of the actual, meat and potatoes of it is any different. We all have to be roughly the same.
Does this mean our friendly neighbor will stop flying the drone over our shorelines, reporting everybody to?
As long as you meet these requirements, right? So it's not, I don't use one, so I haven't, I've reviewed them a couple times, but they're.
This is exactly what we use and what we use, and we already had visits by the sheriff last year. Obviously, they didn't reach everybody. I think it depends on what municipality you were in, but It was not the DNR that visited, it was Waukesha Sheriff's Department that visited homes in the local areas to give flyers and notices
Yeah.
after the incident.
Well, so that's, and I don't know this for sure, because I would hypothesize that they weren't enforcing anything, right?
There weren't any,
Tickets,
there were
yeah.
no tickets, they were
Yeah.
very friendly, there was a flyer that basically, where it was the state rules.
Yeah,
Is
and
what they were.
my,
Basically just to educate people.
yeah, because my understanding at the Lake Board meeting was that it would be the DNR that would write a ticket if someone was in violation of it, and because of that, and the difficulty of getting a DNR agent to be here, is why they're looking for the ability for the village to, or for the Lake Patrol to address it, so they can start with the awareness, right? Hey, there's this thing, we came by, you're missing this section of it, please correct it. Don't correct it. Now I think it's,
The problem is the
Or ticket or
genesis
something.
of this is just kind of like poor timing or almost ill-informed. The genesis of it is because there was an incident on the lake, and the incident was not caused by aeration. However, I think the public feels that it was.
I mean, I don't necessarily disagree with you. I also think I think the quantity of the use of them is, or the interpretation of the use of them is not.
I support it, I just
Yeah.
needed to be on record, so
Right.
everyone knows that, you know, they should follow the rules, but at the same time, that was not the cause of any incident on the lake. And, the drones aren't gonna help that.
Fair.
Okay,
Well,
Is there a motion to,
sure. A motion to approve the ordinance to create 19.22 relating to regulation of aeration, circulating pumps on Pewaukee Lake.
Second.
motion and a second to create the chapter 19.2? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 4-0. Next item, item F, consideration of a resolution designating polling places for the town of Delafield. Administrator Lutke.
Yeah, so we currently have 3 polling places that we administer elections at. We've seen a decline in poll worker interest, and so some of those sites have not been fully staffed on elections that we've had. We've also seen upward trends for absentee voters, so we're processing more of those envelope absentees on the back end, but we do have to do it in the same space that we're holding the election at. If we combine these from 3 down to 2, we would have 2 DS200 tabulation machines at each site, and the absentee area would be segregated enough that they could balance to themselves, and then the people who are in person, they would balance to themselves. We would be fully staffed, and if in the event we had some sort of an emergency with either one of the sites, we could revert back to the town hall as an emergency site. We've had a decent number of complaints about the parking here specifically for the town hall, and the fact that we have other daytime business still going on while elections are here. The hill going up and down from the parking area is very treacherous in the winter months when we have elections, and people are having a hard time getting up and down the hill when they can't find the parking up here. So we're trying to create some more operational efficiencies by condensing it down to 2. So that we have more people to actually process what's going on. So I'm hoping that the change gets approved from 3 down to 2. We would send out notifications to all those that are affected. We would put something in the newsletter that goes out with the tax bill, and we would blast it, all over social media and on our website as well.
And obviously, it does not impact in-person absentee balloting or voting.
No, not
prior,
at all, right.
That would still be.
Still the same, still here. We are probably, for the larger elections, going to make this room the voting place with our witnesses and everything in here. It would act just like the polling day place instead of going up to the front counter. We just, you have people that come in and they're like, all I wanted was a dog license and I waited 40 minutes in line. We kind of don't want to have that happen again. So
Right,
it is, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and I mean, obviously, no issues with quantity of polling places required by like the election commission or anything? It's like,
There's not, as long as you have enough room and you have a backup plan, there's really nothing that states that you have to have them any one place or another. We'd like to have full control of our polling sites, but we don't have the space for that. So we are glad that the churches are willing and able to help us with that, including their ADA accessibility, their, everything that they offer in terms of being available for the voter.
make a motion to approve polling places from 3 to 2 with the polling locations being the Church of the Resurrection on North Shore Drive in Pewaukee and the Day Spring Church on Silver Narrow Road in Pewaukee.
A second.
Motion and second to adopt the resolution designating the polling places for the town of Delafield from 3 to 2. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed. Motion passes 4-0. Next item, consideration regarding virtual attendance for board members to town meetings.
So, sorry. Supervisor Mahoney Ogden has asked me on a number of occasions and also asked my predecessor, Dan, about the virtual attendance for board members. She brought it up again at the Plan Commission meeting, so I was almost done compiling all the information that I could from other communities in Waukesha County, and I summarized that information in my memo. What I'm looking for from the board is whether or not you want to change how it's currently the current policy, where if we don't have a quorum, we just reschedule to a different day. Same if somebody's ill or has an emergency, we would just reschedule the meeting. If you want to allow for a virtual option, and if you do, we have to take into account all of the items that are listed in the memo and include that in some sort of written policy. Ideally, we would make an ordinance change to our current code so that we could codify this new policy and adhere to it until there's some other sort of change. So I'm looking for either direction, if you want to move forward or not. I wouldn't bring an ordinance change to you until a subsequent meeting. This is mostly just an interest thing. If there is no interest, we would go no further.
I appreciate the work you put into it, but we've addressed, well,
You have addressed.
I don't remember if you were on or not yet, but at least two members of the board were on at the time this last came up. My feelings have not changed. I don't think it's not only I don't think it's in good practice to allow for virtual attendance. I don't think it's a worthy thing to open up our budget for, to bring in the quantity of IT and different facilities we'd need to offer it. And yeah, my position on that hasn't changed, so.
Is it a cost related?
I mean, you've got
Opinion,
to,
or-
you've got to, it's not just set up a Zoom account and stream it. I mean, you got to make sure it's encrypted. You can't be hacked. If you're allowing the board members to participate virtually, are we going to allow citizen comments to participate virtually? Are we going to allow people who are on the agenda for other items to participate virtually?
Well, I think
You know,
that's where the
it's-
Pandora's box kind of gets opened up. It's one thing to
Exactly.
allow the board member or the town representative to participate virtually, but where do you draw the line as far as the community being able to participate virtually? How do you control that? I mean, these other communities that have virtual options, they have, a staff of 2 or 3 people who, are managing and directing that and producing the meeting, versus, we just have Michelle and she's taking the minutes and helping us stay on task. And I think it's important for all of us to at least be in the same room, because at least we're all, for the most part, focused on the task at hand. I know, I think when we've all done stuff virtually, we're not always 100% focused on the issue or the task. We're multitasking sometimes too, so.
Would it be virtual audio or virtual video as well, video?
So I would have to give you some cost options with that, but like as it stands right now, I cannot YouTube and Zoom at the same time. It'll tell me that I can only push that feed out to one program or the other. And I would have to have some extra security. I don't know if if we kept it with YouTube, do we have one of you guys use your cell phone? Because we don't have a phone here. We could try the phone on the wall, but I'm not really sure about that.
I
So
just
that,
don't- I just-
I'd have to look into it more, but I don't want to put all that effort into it if you guys are not interested.
So the Lake Country Fire Rescue Board has that option of,
They're not writing ordinances and,
True, and
and-
we make motions
right?
and,
Sure, but that's
no, it's an official meeting too.
not as not as an elected official, I'd say. I think the spirit of local government is you're here and you're participating and you are local. And that's,
It's a valid point, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
well, I would motion to
I don't think
not
we-
carry it further.
We don't need a motion, I just would like some
Or I
direction.
give direction to,
Yeah.
that I don't believe it needs to be carried further, but I'm one person, so I'm,
I mean, I don't feel that, I think Joe made a great point. Local government should stay local. Our job to be here
Right.
to support the community, so I
Okay.
keep it simple.
Okay, no further. Okay. Okay, thank you.
good.
Ask for a 5-minute recess before we get into the budget workshop.
Yeah, no, right?
Take a 5-minute break. I need to drink some water here for a second.
We don't have to motion to come back from our recess or anything, right? All right.
All right, so the 2026. I actually didn't go through the PowerPoint slides, but I gave you all, and we can play with this Excel sheet as we go, so. The priorities are, we have 6 if for some reason you want. So we want to maintain quality services, protect, invest in our infrastructure. Population for the department, 8,080. Our registered voters were at about 6,300. Are doing kind of a, on all those that may have moved.
Wasn't it just over 9,000?
No,
On the-
never hit 9,000.
Okay, just under 9,000, all right.
So the town levy, but from 25 to 26, we're increase of $13,938 based on that net new construction. Are expecting the mill rate to drop to
Oh.
coincides with our. For our 2025 revaluation summary, brought our assessment value to 100% of fair market. Average property increase was 59. $20. So you'll see the difference between 20.
Can I ask you one question? How many houses in the community, in the town? 3,000, okay. Thank you.
So, for our 2020 revenue overview, and those. We're looking at an increase. Increase of about 52,000. From taxes and then we have an increase in our reimbursements. And we've got, excuse me, the 2026 principal review, which increases by a little less than the revenues by about 11 and 11. Is the fire department. That amount is going up by just under 14. We have an increase in public works by about 5%. We are looking to replace some of our older equipment so that we can keep maintaining. Don't want to pay more for repairing these things than it would cost. We want to reintroduce. We also had an increase in health insurance. Our elections went up by 119% because we normally have an odd year. Our assessor value went down because our reevaluation was a very. For our debt service, our 2026 levy, we are saying $610,840, broken down between the payments. also include. They're going to be closing out two. So on the next slide for the debt service fund, you'll notice that in prior years, we were borrowing $250,000 road improvements. Our road improvements varied from $500,000 to $800,000. For 2026, I'm proposing that we take the entire. Like to keep the fund balance as robust. Put a referendum, and so we don't typically take out the full amount of the road improvements in the fund, proposing it for this year only. Hard to up your fund balance again once you dig into it. About 40%. 2024, we had 40%, 2025 is 39%. I would like to keep it in 2026 at 40%. Which is a very significant drop. I did run this past our auditor, Kerber and Rose, just to see what they thought. How other communities typically. Bring our fund balance down to 20. I did have some screenshots of this before and after if we do the 250,000 versus there is a fund balance history. 1.97. Will help us in case of emergencies. I want to keep this as. The next slide shows our replacement fund. We like to stick a little bit in every year. I'll bring bucks for the future. Over replacement at 25. Bringing our assigned replacement fund just under. Evaluation of what that we have control over, our idea of the replacement cost. Have more of a target of how much money we need now. As far as our impact fees go, we're Shire Farm. Once the Shire Farm subdivision is completed, that's in for $8,000 in the park fund. Once that 6,000 runs out, there's no additional. Outsource it. If we outsource it, it's going to take this entire. Volleyball court into pickleball court. Our survey of these companies are 2027, which is why. So I'm not sure what it's going to be. The general fund capital expenditures. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, one quick thing. So currently, there's $79,200 in the revenue balance for the impact fund fee.
Let me bring that in.
I know a portion of that has got to be spent in 5 years. What
Yep.
portion of that 79,000 is on the clock?
So this purple box right here shows that we were originally going to beef up some of our, like, for example, the shed. As far as, might not need the shed. Over $10,000 has to come through. So, I'll keep track of the impact fees on here. Funds,
Perfect.
Nope.
general fund capital expenditures, that's the, it comes in. There is a company, there's a mini, or, yeah, map in between, that shows what the roads would be for road improvement. Don't say what the amounts of roads are, because but we're looking at doing, Cushing Hill, Mary, and Crooked Creek. We're also gonna be doing 30,000. We're able to, when we would bid out for crack filling in the past, we would only get like an 8 done for the city. Road improvement amount graph shows kind of the ups and downs of what we're trying. Excuse me. I would just caution against pushing back some of these road, because it's more expensive year over year. So if for some reason you would like to see what the numbers look like without one of these, what?
The,
Go ahead.
I was gonna drive by it today, and I didn't, because of all of the reasons listed prior. But, does anybody know, are the houses at the end of Crooked Creek Road, are those built yet? Or have they been divided?
So.
Like the 8 lots
Yeah,
at
yeah,
the
yeah.
end?
I hear that, I mean, it's constantly, it's loud all day, so I'm guessing they're
Yeah,
not fully completed, but yeah, it's definitely
It's a
ongoing.
work in progress.
well, I mean, I guess what I'm asking is, are we beyond the point where we're gonna have like heavy equipment and cement trucks rolling on it? Because I don't really, if we're gonna still have heavy equipment and cement trucks rolling down Crooked Creek Road, do we wanna pave it this coming year? Or do we wanna wait until at least the heavy equipment is done, right? I mean, electricians and HVAC guys and whatever, they're not rolling multiple ton vehicles down the asphalt.
I would rather
So,
wait
I can find out for you before the next meeting, which is our public hearing.
yeah, I'll drive by it too. I wasn't sure if anybody knew off.
I think we plan for it and then, kind of see where they're at next spring, next,
This
summer.
wouldn't happen till August, excuse me, August of '26.
Okay, so these aren't spring projects.
No,
Okay.
no, we get better
So I would
pricing
have
for
to
August.
imagine that all of the heavy equipment would be done by,
So is this selection of roads based on the, I guess, time cycle aspect, or is it like the condition of those roads?
It's actually the condition. So our town engineer and our highway superintendent rode the roads. Is that how you say that?
Phaser report.
Right, Pacer?
Sure.
Yeah, so they've gone out and looked at all the roads and made their reports to the state and so forth, and have determined that these are the ones most in need this next year.
Okay.
All right. So then going into the levies and the rates, this is my favorite part. When we break down the rates and kind of explain it to the resident that we are the collecting body, but we then disseminate most of those funds to other entities that use the tax money. So this sheet right here up on the screen, as soon as I get more information from the Department of Revenue, I'll be plugging in the rest of the numbers, but this is good stuff. So it compares 25 to 26 and shows you what the change is. as far as the mill rates and the other taxing bodies. But if you look at the pie graph of a tax bill, the town of Delafield only gets 5% of the pie, we'll say. So if we have a tax bill on average of $5,000, the town is getting $250 of that tax bill. On the next one, if we break it down even further, Public Works gets $100 of that $250, and of the Public Works slice, $19 of that would go towards the salary portion for Public Works. So if you break it down all the way to the end, a person who owns a home and pays $5,000 taxes pays $3.80 a year for one of our DPW workers. So I think that's pretty great for the town. So we do a lot with that $3.80 a person. So if you have any questions on that, it's kind of one of those things where we want the residents to know where their money is going.
Great, thank
So,
you.
yeah. So long-term, like I had mentioned before, we're looking at a replacement schedule for the Public Works vehicles, just to make sure that we are not spending more on replacing parts and so forth than we would to actually purchase a new vehicle. There is the talk of a merger between Western Lakes and Lake Country Fire and Rescue, but they're at the discussion exploration stage right now, but I just want to make sure that we're all keeping up on that possibility. I also put some statistics on here on the declining interest in the participation in the town's baseball programs. It's probably going to be a little bit less in 26 because they're repaving Silvernail for the entire summer, which could impact the rental that we see at the sports commons here. But in the last, even right after COVID there, we've gone from 19 sponsors down to 9 and, 22 teams down to 11. So we're not on an increase here. And one of the reasons is because the school districts are having their own programs and these kids want to play with their friends instead of playing in one of these leagues. So a longer term discussion might be how long do we want to keep the programs on? Once we go from black to red, do you want to end the program? So, and then one other consideration here is the the full build out of the full-time fire department with a 2026 referendum likely. Do you want it to be a one-time referendum, an annual referendum? We're going to get help from the Department of Revenue and the town attorney. We are a little bit late to put it on the February election if we were to talk about it. There's the dates that are up in that white section there, and I know we've talked about it a little bit before, but we're going to be talking about it probably during the next couple of meetings. This whole thing is dependent on what the city of Delafield does. So I can't get you any additional information until I find out what they're going to be doing, unfortunately.
And even that, what the city of Delafield does, that goes back to impacting how we borrow for roads and everything, right? I mean,
Yeah.
right?
All connected.
Yeah.
So I did include in your, the stuff that I laid on your desk, kind of like a timeline with some internal notes on the referendum process. And once we find out what they're going to do, then I can better plan and give you guys an idea. But I'm hoping that if we need to go to referendum, that we can get it on the August. Because it's going to take that long to get the Department of Revenue, our wording, the information out to the residents. So if we did, it would be sometime, I think it would be the August election is what would be most comfortable.
That's not ideal for attendance, people voting.
If we did it in April, we would have to likely have some special meetings and we'd have to make very quick decisions. I'm not saying that's bad, I would totally do that. I wouldn't do it for November because then you have to basically approve 2 budgets and then submit them whichever one wins, So August would be like the most likely, including the resident information piece. So. Any questions? Do you want me to plug in anything, play around with the data? You want to review the spreadsheets at all? I did have our auditor look this over. I had another town look it over. Internally, we had people look it over, and I had somebody else too. I'm sorry, I forget.
So when it's, whenever the decision is, whatever the decision is, the city of Delafield and the, fire department, let's just, the hypothetical you're playing, or we're working off of here on the borrow for all of the road work would be if the city goes to Western Lakes
So
Fire, is that correct?
the amount that the fire department gave me for the 2026 budget, they're pretty confident about. It's when we get to 2027 that we would have to have this referendum for, that we would have to find out how much of an increase we would be having to pay for the fire department. The reason for the 875 on the debt service fund is to keep our fund balance healthy, because going into 27, we want to have
Sure.
enough
No, I get
cushion.
that.
Oh,
What I'm
okay,
sa-
I'm
What I'm
sorry.
saying is that that assumption to
Mm-hmm.
borrow the 875 assumes they leave.
It gives any assumption, because if they leave and go to Western Lakes, I think our amount is going to bump up pretty significantly to
Right.
cover them
It gives
leaving.
us a lot of cushion, a lot of flexibility so that we don't, completely deplete our fund balance. I mean, we have the credit, we have the ability to borrow that whole amount. Interest rates are, trending in the right direction. So I think in order to have that flexibility while we continue to work through the fire and EMS challenges, and also, we were way behind on our road program when I first got here, and we're still playing catch up. So it's one of the things our residents ask for.
Sure.
I think it would be prudent to, borrow that full amount and have that flexibility going into 27.
I guess the follow-up question to that was going to be, so if they say, hey, great, you know what, we're sticking with LCFR and all is good and happy endings and all's fine, right? Are we still recommending an 879 borrowing
Yep,
okay,
because if the city of Delafield stays on and the trend to move up to full-time everywhere with no brownouts, the fire department's still going to go from roughly 5 million up to 10 million over the course of 5 years. So we need to somehow,
and the funding formula changes and everything else, and
that is the current funding formula that it was agreed upon by by most of them.
Yep.
So that's kind of, I'm optimistic but cautious, and want to make sure that we are covered if we need to. But even if we do the 875 and we do the referendum and 2027 is covered, I just want to make sure that however we do it, we're covered for more than just 1 year. So, and I did check with the Department of Revenue, and our debt limit is 134 million, and we're at 3.3. So I'm not saying we're going to take out that much. I'm just saying that we are pretty responsible with our money, so.
Being very prudent, we're not
Right.
maxing out the credit card by any means.
Right,
So.
we are not even close. I'm not even want to get close. We can pay off more of these loans based on this schedule here. If you look at the balance for 2026, we've got a couple of them that are pretty low-hanging fruit. So if we want to pay off a couple once we become more established, we could look at that too.
no, I just was just making sure that one way or another, the recommendation is going to be the 875 borrow. Doesn't matter theoretically. That piece of the fire department question isn't going to impact what we're suggesting we borrow for the roads.
I mean,
It's going to impact the budget on
Yeah.
how the rest of the budget goes, but one way or another, we're suggesting we borrow for all the road.
correct. Or you can say, excuse me, or you can say that you don't really want to do all these roads and continue pushing it back,
No,
which I wouldn't recommend.
I mean, when I first joined the board, that was when, they had effectively implemented the plan to get caught up to the road maintenance piece. I think that's a good piece and want to stay relatively on track. Again, the only thing, which, if it's an August date, right, my only concern on any of these would have been driving heavy equipment over a brand new road, but if by August, I know they're working on those homes there, I got to imagine all the heavy equipment's going to be,
I'll still find out
Yeah,
when
we'll get an answer,
when they're
but,
scheduled
yeah,
to
that
be
would-
complete.
that would have been my only,
That was
I agree.
Paradise Valley, right?
No, that's Crooked Creek.
I'm sorry, Crooked Creek, yes, okay. I will get that information to you before the next meeting.
Cool.
Any other questions on it?
With the budget workshop for the time being.
If, if there's any changes that you want me to bring to the next item, for October 28th, that's the public hearing where the residents can come in and ask their questions about the budget. And then the approval for the budget will be at our only meeting in November, which gives us plenty of time to get all of our information into the Department of Revenue. We've already started the tax bill preparation with the county. I'm going to be sending you guys the town survey to see what you think about it, and also we'll get that tax insert in here to see what you guys think about that as well, probably at the next meeting. So,
Great.
moving right along.
No, great job on the PowerPoint.
Yeah, great work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't think you guys do a motion on the budget workshop.
No.
Okay.
There's a Waukesha County unit meeting for the Wisconsin Towns Association coming up on October 22nd, 6:30, Town of Genesee. We're scheduled to have Hillary Mintz, she's the PIO from Waukesha County, talk to us about media relations. The next town board meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, October 28th, 6:30, which is going to be the budget public hearing. Tuesday, November 11th, is the next town board meeting, budget adoption, and the Lake Country Fire and Rescue Fire Board meeting is Wednesday, November 19th at 5 o'clock at the Minnesota Station. Look for a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion and second to adjourn. All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned 4-0.
7:33.